You're listening to The Front Porch Show. Some shows are niche shows, talking about specific topics. Others, shows about nothing. This show is the show about everything. On The Front Porch Show, we'll talk about current events, some news, a little bit of politics, along with a whole lot of life. Welcome to our Front Porch. 1-402-799-1811 is our message line number. You've got the four amigos together at last.
I think it's the Four Horsemen. It's the Three Amigos. Get it right.
Dang it. I messed up.
Definitely.
That was bad.
Definitely more the Four Horsemen than the Three Amigos.
The four Horsemen of the Front Porch Ellipse.
Jeff doesn't like horses, though.
What?
Jeff doesn't like horses.
I don't like horses.
Who said I don't like horses?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought you said you like to eat them.
Horses are untrustworthy on both ends and crafty in the middle.
Wait, what's that
that's
from?
Weird.
What's that
Sherlock
from?
Holmes.
Yes. Yes.
And it's so true.
It is true.
I don't like riding horses.
Speaking of horsepower.
Yeah. Wow. What a
Man.
Ozzy's
is on the ball today.
Let's
Ozzy's ticked.
All right.
Ben has seized the lead. Go for it.
Did you guys check out this new Cybertruck that Tesla has unveiled?
First of all,
no,
what a
because I have
name.
a life.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, Cybertruck. So I think first off, they hired like some dude to make the logo that just had a can of spray paint. So
obviously they did hire some dude to make the logo. I mean, that's whether they paid him $1 million or $10, they hired some dude.
I hope he got a lot of money. But seriously though, have you seen this thing? Did you look at it?
Oh yeah.
It looks really dumb.
Check it out. It is the stupidest looking thing I have seen for a while. I don't know who is the audience that they're trying to capture with this thing.
I said this on the front.
The Halo 1 audience.
Right, the one that looks like a warthog. Yeah.
I said this on the show page this week.
But unlike this, the Warthog is actually useful and it has a railgun.
Absolutely.
You can't even read that logo.
It looks like
this
a
is going to be really. This is going to come in really handy, like
a Countach.
It kind of looks like a Countach.
I don't even know
little bit.
It's a Lamborghini.
That would be a Lamborghini from like the 1990s that every child was in love with.
Yeah, Jeff.
Wasn't me. I liked American cars, Corvettes.
Jeff was looking at F-15s.
Not as much the Mustangs, but definitely Corvettes.
Back when Jeff was growing up
F-14s.
as little Karen and Flint.
Anyway.
F-14s.
That was hard back in the 90s.
Ben, you're right. It absolutely is definitely taking cues from the Countach, but why, I couldn't guess.
I don't know. Like, it's full of a lot of really cool technology, but I mean,
can we talk about the name? You can't just append cyber onto something. It doesn't make sense.
Yes, apparently. But if you take cyber,
it's not like
cyber crime.
It's not
cyber
in Tron.
Security.
It's not in the movie
Tron.
See, that's what my wife was saying. She was like, "It looks like it's from Tron, like the original Tron back in the 80s."
But it's not.
Oh, it could have been, though.
It's going to appeal to a lot of nerds because if you take cyber and you add it to the acronym for the other cars that Tesla has.
Aaron.
Sexy C?
Pretty much.
Oh, cyber. Oh.
I'm telling you. See? I nailed it.
God dang it, Aaron.
Anyway.
Just saying, this is a family show.
This thing is actually packed. This thing is actually packed full of really cool stuff. I have to say, it's got like a ramp that extends down so you can drive up on it. Apparently it's made of stainless steel. I don't know whose idea that was. So they took a sledgehammer to it and whacked it a couple of times. And apparently the other thing that is really, really cool is the unbreakable glass that
which is breakable.
It didn't puncture and it didn't shatter, though.
Yeah,
I think it did what it was supposed to do.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
Not.
That was the point. It was not supposed to actually break.
Yeah, they claimed it wouldn't crack.
I'm looking at a picture and it definitely cracked.
They took two ball bearings and chucked two ball bearings at it, and Elon Musk's face was just hilarious.
I'm looking at his face. He looks like he's like trying to grin and bear it. So, okay, so one of my friends on Facebook...
Has he used his flamethrower on it yet?
Hold that thought. One of my friends on Facebook brought up a good point, which is, so the body is supposed to be super hard and not bendy.
Right. Yeah.
Which it kind of makes you wonder what the market for this really is supposed to be, because car bodies are bendy for a reason. We have the whole crumple zone and all that stuff.
I would say
in case you hit something. Or
Yeah,
something
that's
hits you.
actually when people used to talk about their old truck from like the 80s and they're like, oh yeah, I'd rather have my tank than your new plastic car. And then it actually turns out that those like rigid frame steel vehicles are actually more dangerous than the new, like you said, because they don't have the crush space of the new vehicles.
I think this is going to come in handy during the apocalypse. When,
right.
you're not going to be able to recharge
This is ridiculous. I did see a meme about this already. Someone was talking about it, and then someone was like,
I posted this to the show notes.
oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Where they're talking about throwing firewood in the back of it, and then some guy's like, firewood, okay, boomer. And I'm like, what? like they're so hipster, they don't even use a truck as a truck anymore.
So,
it's like,
so Elon has made the perfect bug out vehicle, except for the electric part.
Right.
except for
you
there's electric,
could charge
and
it
then
with
there's
a
windows
solar
break, and then it doesn't work that
generator.
well.
It is an armored vehicle. It has additional anchors for more plating.
I have a question. Is this the truck for the future Mars colony? Is that what this is?
This could be.
It may,
go.
it may not even be destined for Earth. It may be destined for Mars.
It really wouldn't surprise me if this was like a rover type thing. I mean, I wouldn't honestly be surprised at that at all because it would all make sense. Keep it simple. Just
cyber trucks.
They're going to use the Cybertruck in
space.
Cyber City on Mars.
cyberspace.
I mean, all they have to do is pressurize it. Wait. It has a kitchen in the back?
Well, no, if
What?
you buy that, I'm sure that's probably a $20,000 mod.
That's not going to Mars though.
Oh, it has a galley.
No need for kitchens on Mars.
If you pay for it. Now, they did come up with an electric ATV also that they made. They did not really say much about it, and I can't really find a lot about it, but apparently that's another thing coming out from Tesla.
So when
an electric ATV.
So here's the only question I have: when is Elon Musk going to turn his attention from making cool gadgetry into actually making a profit?
Well, he made $14.6 million in the last 2 days, supposedly.
On what?
On deposits.
Yeah, on what?
Cybertruck, buddy.
That's not really
Okay,
That's like a drop
that's
in
not
the
necessarily
bucket.
a profit.
100
That's
We
just
do have to-
That's not a profit, is it?
It was
That's not a profit.
146,000 orders for this truck at the cost of
What?
Yeah.
Who are the people that can afford this? The thing starts at I think $39,000 is the starting
half
point.
those.
Hang on though.
Those orders
Have
are
you
gonna
looked
be
at an
canceled.
F-150 recently?
Yeah, it uses
point.
gas.
No, but
Yeah,
it's
it does.
also
It
like
runs, it goes.
$40,000.
Yeah, it costs about 50.
I would be shocked if they're able to deliver these at 49 grand or 39 grand, whatever it was.
I don't know. Like I honestly,
It doesn't look like a 39 grand piece of equipment to me. It looks like a 110 grand of a piece of equipment that doesn't run on cloudy days.
I think due to this tooling,
Right.
I think due to the simplistic tooling and the modular parts, they are going to be able to hit the price point.
Yeah, but what market are they going after? Like,
It's
I'm
ugly
just
and
saying,
it's useless.
what contractor or what 90% of the people who buy trucks, who would even consider that? We're making fun of it, and I don't even own a truck, and I wouldn't buy that.
Ozzy, they are going after the soccer mom who wants a pickup truck.
The same thing that Chevy did with the what was it, the Avalanche?
Avalanche, exactly.
the thing that was kind of a truck bed,
That
but it
thing's
wasn't, and it was
horrible.
ugly.
That thing's horrible.
Right.
That was a
it's
mistake.
It's the same market. They are not going after the people who are going to throw wood in the back. They are going after.
So I will say I agree that for the people who buy new trucks, 39 grand is probably not that much.
No.
I think this is an Avalanche. This is an SUV.
To me, that would feed my family for 2 years. But
Absolutely.
who's keeping track?
At least.
Right. But it's going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting.
It's a cool piece of technology, but when you start comparing it with, I think they compared it to like a Porsche, and they were like, "Oh, I can beat a Porsche."
Well, the acceleration,
that's wonderful, but why? Do you know what I mean? Like that's.
But see, that's
what I'm
the
saying.
thing.
Why not though?
Because you need to go get that firewood fast.
You gotta escape the cops, man.
That's the thing with electric vehicles,
when you're
though, guys.
Get me off of Mars.
That's the thing, though, guys, with electric vehicles. We compare it to a Porsche for acceleration, but the point is, these vehicles are naturally capable of accelerating that fast.
Absolutely.
It's because there's torque.
Are.
It's instantaneous. There's no spool up on the motor.
Right. But I'm saying, what is the point of the comparison? Because, like, do you know what I mean? Besides the fact that, you literally could pull up next to a Porsche and then beat it. That would be the cool point.
But it wouldn't sound as cool as the Porsche.
Why do you need that? Like,
because
why does that matter?
Sometimes Mama needs to beat little Billy Boy's tail. When his mama is driving the new Mercedes, you pull up with your little Tesla and
what do you ram them?
No, you beat them off the go, man. You
ram them and then it's for the hit and run.
You could do a really effective pit maneuver and something like that.
And it wouldn't dent or scratch
because you have unlimited. You have all the torque you need.
But
you have
the windows
variable torque
would
to the back end, so you're not going to break loose.
I'm curious how much the windows cost because they seem to be very simplistic. Like I think everything
they're expendable,
right? But I mean, everything is straight. You know what I mean? It's not like you have to have a curved piece of glass. You could probably cut out one of the windows yourself and put it in.
Okay, can we talk about a related topic really quick? Can we talk about the fact that you can't see out of cars anymore because the A-pillars are so freaking huge?
Did you see the girl who came up with the solution for that?
No.
Yeah. So there was a oh my goodness, Jeff. I totally lost my train of thought.
You just derailed mine too. Stop
it. So
I wasn't watching.
There was a junior high girl came up with a projection system that takes a picture of what's outside the A-frame and projects it on the inside of the A-frame.
What?
Well, the A-pillar and the B-pillar?
Yeah.
Or C-pillar, whichever it is.
I don't think they do I don't think they're doing the B-pillar.
I mean, to me, the A-pillar is the most important one because that's where you're getting control if you're making like a left turn or a right turn or whatever.
I've had it happen before. I mean, I drive a lot.
So I've gotten over it, but my 2010 Altima for a long time felt less safe to me to drive than my 2000 Montero because I'm sitting up high in the Montero and the pillars are really thin.
Yeah.
So I could see everything. So
I don't know that I've ever actually had a problem or considered that, to be honest with you.
I've noticed it in some new cars, especially driving like rentals with some different jobs traveling. Mm-hmm. Like some new cars, the pillars are just like you keep finding yourself ducking, like trying to get out of the way of it, and then you realize it's part of my car. I literally can't see around it.
It might be. I need to look up and see if this is the case because obviously
it's got to be a safety thing.
It's hard to. It is. It's rollover safety is what it is.
Right.
Because they don't want you to get your head flattened if you roll over going over a bar ditch or something.
Well, that's no fun.
The thing is, when you sit there and you're building the mono frames out of aluminum and not steel anymore, you have to take up bigger area. There has to be more material to take up that.
Right.
And that's why you buy the Cybertruck made of steel.
Well, I have no doubt that the Altima is much safer to roll over in than the Montero would be. The Montero would probably squish me like a pancake if I rolled it.
I don't know.
Not least because I'm 6'4", but
those roofs hold a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I hear you. I don't know.
But it's also the angles. The Montero is a lot more angled because new cars are more bubble shaped as well, even SUVs.
Well,
not the
until
Cybertruck.
You get to the Cybertruck.
Yeah, it's a really low angle. Anyways,
you guys gonna buy it?
No.
If you had $40,000 in your pocket.
No.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Not a chance.
No, because you need $60,000 to get the 500-mile range.
My truck cost me $2,500. It gets 16 miles to the gallon.
So 2 weeks ago, we compared the Popeye's chicken sandwich with the Chick-Fil-A chicken sandwich. And I am going to just throw this out there that I tried the Popeye's sandwich again, and I do not like it. I still don't like it. I tried it at a different location.
Can you pinpoint why?
Yeah,
it's the breading. Why. The breading. I do not like the breading.
Well, and you're saying the breading on the chicken,
the
not
breading
like
on the chicken. Yeah, not the bun. The bun is great. I do not like the flavor of the chicken, and I do not like the breading.
So
Well, I tried
if you
to
don't
compare
like
them
the chicken,
side
you
by
don't
side
like the
one
breading,
day,
what's
but
the
the
point?
Popeye. I tried to compare them side by side one day, but the Popeyes that I was near didn't have the sandwich.
Yeah, that's
So
that's a little
that's
weird.
a ripoff.
That's a little odd.
now,
Popeyes. So I need to point something out here. Part of the reason Chick-fil-A is so good is because it's not a franchise. Every single store is corporately owned, which means everything quality control is centrally administered.
But the
Quality.
question is, Tombstone.
I got an idea,
question
Tombstone.
is-
Based on that theory, we should run our government that way. Everything's centrally administered so that the quality.
Oh,
is high.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm honestly impressed that you're trolling this early in the show.
That's good. That's good.
I liked it.
So
I
Tombstone.
was hoping he was going to say that Chick-fil-A should run everything.
I would
Well,
be, if you know what, if
No, Chuck
our
E. Cheese
government,
should run everything.
I'm gonna rephrase. If our
But in a
government was the
token, look at a
size,
duck.
if our government was the size of the Chick-fil-A corporate office, which takes up 3 buildings in Jonesboro, Georgia, I'd be totally for it.
I'd be all
Yeah, that
for
is
it.
very true. That is very true.
Hey guys,
All right.
obviously we're talking Chick-fil-A. We got to talk about whether or not you guys are going to go back to it again.
I haven't
Judas
not gone
chicken.
back to it.
Hashtag the sweet taste of compromise. Hashtag nom 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 nom.
It is not compromise. You guys are delusional.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
amazing.
Okay.
That's what it
Okay.
is.
So let's
It
take a
always
step
has
back. Let's take a
not
step
say
back.
we did. Let's keep going.
Let's take a step back. So this past week, a magazine that I have never heard of came out with an article stating that Chick-fil-A is no longer going to be giving money to causes that quote unquote are anti-LGBT.
QIA plus 9, whatever.
And so
can I bring one thing up here before we go way down this rabbit
keep
hole?
going.
Do it.
Start going.
About 4 or 5 weeks ago, an article was published that told a straight up awful lie about Chick-fil-A, that they personally directly bankrolled the death penalty bill for homosexuals in Uganda, I think. Do you guys remember this? Did this come across your feed at all?
No.
I did not
No.
see this.
So I'm not on Twitter anymore. Well, I'm not on Twitter this month. I took a break. This is one of the last things that happened in October. But yeah, somebody published an article or a blog post. I don't know exactly where it originated, but it spread like wildfire. I saw it everywhere, saying basically that Chick-fil-A directly bankrolled efforts in Uganda to criminalize homosexuality by death.
I do recall hearing that.
It was an awful, damnable lie. It was not true. It wasn't even close to being true. There's no direct or indirect connection with Chick-fil-A
Right.
with that.
So the
But
question.
I would not be surprised if somebody down there in the office, for good reasons or bad reasons, looked at that and said, "We've got to think about what we're doing." So, anyways, go ahead. Aaron.
So this week we found out that they're not giving money to anti-LGBT. What do you call them?
Allegedly.
Okay,
They're not.
so they're not going to give money to these organizations, including Salvation Army, the
Fellowship of Christian
Christian Athletes, and
You guys, I don't know if you guys looked already, but the article I sent you from Front Page Mag details that the donations they were making were already really small.
yes,
Right.
Yeah.
Like
I've
like in terms of fundraising, vanishingly small.
and so according to the articles, this funding dried up in 2018. So it's been a year since this contract, if you will, is up. It was a multi-year contract. And so according to the article, the CEO, and I can't pronounce his name, stated that they were going to be supporting other organizations who weren't quote unquote anti-LGBT. And we're going to be giving to more local
You're talking about the
organizations?
interview. You're talking about it
No,
wasn't
not
actually
more
an interview. The
local.
article from BizNow, right?
The BizNow article.
Which I still have no idea what to think about that.
All right, so here, Mathis, it wasn't that it was more local. They basically made the claim that they were just going to try to target a little more, and they were going to focus on hunger, homelessness, and I just forgot the third one. They were going to basically focus it into 3 key areas.
Right.
That they were going to try to focus their financial giving going forward. It's not that it was more local. It was supposedly just going to be more targeted, and they were going to supposedly select, and they were supposedly going to select, do shorter term contract type things where each year they reevaluate who the people that they're giving to. These are the claims of the change that's being made. So
on the surface, I don't have such an issue with that. I don't see an issue with that of being more focused in giving. I have a problem when an organization just willy-nilly just gives like tons of cash in a multi-year contract, if you will, giving contract with someone. So I understand the sentiment behind that. The problem is the timing. The timing is very, very curious. Now, for those of you who don't know, Chick-fil-A has really raised itself up as a for what a lot of conservatives viewed as this upstanding corporation that wasn't willing to cave in the midst of this politically correct environment, I guess you call it.
I need to ask though, is this something that Chick-fil-A has said about themselves, or is this something that we've said about Chick-fil-A? I honestly don't know.
I think this is something that has been kind of, I don't want to say pushed by the Cathy family.
That's what everybody believes.
Well, right, but I think you had the Cathys doing this and going by what they believed. But as far as like the corporate Chick-fil-A goes, though, I don't think that they've had any real dynamic statements against or for or against, for any of this stuff. I think that it's just because they're assuming, Chick-fil-A was founded on these principles.
I mean,
what's Chick-fil-A's corporate policy on being open on Sunday?
Being open on Sunday, they're not.
And why are they not open on Sunday?
Specifically because I don't know if they actually say that.
They do specifically say it. They want.
So it's because of the Lord's Day.
No. It's not. It's not because of the Lord's Day. It's to give their employees a day off to spend time with family. That's what their policy says.
Right.
So and that's one thing I'm asking. Which does the policy say? Because if the corporate policy says it's just to give people off to spend time with their families, then I think it's more along the lines of what Ozzy is saying, where
everybody's just attributing it.
So when the company started, it was a Christian business because it was run by the Cathys, and it's a Christian business, and it's a small business, and they are the business. In 2019, now that it is a national corporate brand, a worldwide corporate brand, so it's no longer the Cathys Christian business. The Cathys are Christians. They started a business that happens to follow some of their Christian principles, but now they are couching.
It happens to attract a lot of Christians.
But now they're couching their formerly Christian principles in safer, more universal terms. So it's not Sunday for the Lord's Day, and it's not Sunday so that you have time to get off and go to church. It's Sunday so that you have time to spend with your family.
So Truett Cathy said originally in his book, Eat More Chicken, Inspire More People, closing our business on Sunday, the Lord's Day, is our way of honoring God and showing our loyalty to Him. So that's what Truett Cathy says.
Isn't Dan Cathy an LDS guy too?
What's their official standpoint on it, though?
Yeah, that's the company's official standpoint now. Because this is what I'm saying. I think the company has morphed. I'm agreeing with Osmond. I think the company has morphed over the years. And Christians, seeing where they started and seeing that they still follow some of the principles that they've started, are obviously identifying it more as a Christian organization, which I think is fine. Chick-fil-A likes that, and they want to send that signal. At the same token, Chick-fil-A also doesn't want to only send that signal. Exactly. They're trying to open themselves up and get more business, so they're backing off an overtly Christian claim, and they're going to let their history speak to the Christian customers, and they're going to try to let current acts speak to their new customers they want to open up to. And that actually plays in with what a couple of these articles I am seeing about their very intentional shift in their giving.
Right.
And it's not just because they want a more direct control of their money, like Mathis is saying he agrees with a more common.
Well, I'm saying if that is the reason, I'm okay with it.
Which I'm fine with that policy too. Don't get me wrong. Like, I understand why you're okay with that policy. I think that is a cover story.
I think the
based
timing,
on some of these other articles.
The timing is suspect. The timing is very suspect.
Why is the timing suspect? Because I keep hearing this, but I don't hear an explanation of exactly why it's suspect. Because I don't see any reason why it's suspect.
So within the last year, they have been denied entry into different airports. There was a mobile Chick-Fil-A somewhere that lost its permit
I think it was in Portland.
Serve. There's another country. Chick-fil-A's over in England or UK somewhere.
UK. We covered that on the show.
Was being denied, and so they are facing a lot of denial of entry into new markets, supposedly based on their anti-LGBTQ.
But that's not an uncommon thing, though, because I mean, we had a Chick-fil-A in New Jersey that got kicked out of a mall because they wouldn't be open on Sunday. There was no other reason than that.
Yeah,
and that was like 10 years ago, though. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying I think maybe
but there's
is it
not
actually
hordes of
because
people,
of that, or is it specifically that it's just coming up as this now?
But there's not hordes of people giving you bad press because you're not open on Sunday. There's not an outrage mob over that. And some malls do that. Some malls have policies that you literally have to be open every day the mall is open, no matter what kind of store you are. You should have known that before you went into the mall. So I don't know how that contract got messed up, but I mean,
so can I just want to speak. I want to speak realistically in terms of realpolitik and not ideologically. In terms of the broader situation in government and policy, if Chick-fil-A was going to stick with their previous path, it is extremely, extremely hostile to them. And
previous path meaning what? Like what?
In terms of donating to the so-called anti-LGBT.
Okay.
There is a sea change has happened in the last 4 or 5 years during what we call the Great Weirding, and the LGBT issues have become really, really important to some really, really powerful people. As a result, society and government is being leveraged and weaponized in ways that would never been done even 5 years ago.
Right.
So I don't know if I can necessarily. I guess I'm a little bit disappointed. I would like to see them stick to their guns on this, but I also understand why.
So can I point out the irony? The irony is that Salvation Army and the what is it called, Jeff? Student athletes.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA.
Neither one of those organizations would be what they call quote unquote anti-LGBT as
Correct.
Opposed to
was there something else in there as well? Some other organization?
No, I think it was the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I think that was the one, wasn't it?
It was Fellowship of Christian Athletes and
Salvation Army.
Salvation Army has been in the news twice because there was also the Super Bowl's halftime singer that they were lining up. Or no, it wasn't Super Bowl, but it was just a game coming up, a football game coming up this with like the Red Kettle campaign and making money for the Salvation Army.
Neither one of those organizations are anti-LGBT, which scares me.
Well, here's the thing, Mathis. We know that they aren't in any kind of militant Westboro Baptist way. However, that both those organizations in their statements hold to a traditional Christian view of marriage, and
which is enough. That's
the thing. That is the thing that makes them labeled anti-LGBTQIA.
Right.
So
I would never describe myself as anti-LGBT anything.
I don't think any one of us would.
And those organizations, like, for example, the Salvation Army, when they're helping homeless people and poor people and feeding them and giving them shelter, they're not checking to see what your sexual identity is.
It's indiscriminate. They do not discriminate.
Right.
They just are a Christian organization of some flavor that holds to a Christian view of marriage, and that is why they're being targeted. Now, that article that you sent us from Front Page, Mathis, or I mean,
that was me. Yeah.
I think
Which,
what we're talking about.
By the way, that is not an unbiased source. I would know. but it was interesting to me.
Right at the top, its tagline on the header, it obviously inside every progressive is a totalitarian screaming to get out by David Horowitz. It's obviously not an unbiased source.
True.
It's very true though. But what I find interesting is one thing it points out that it has changed. It's branded its charitable giving group, like that arm of it, as corporate social responsibility.
Yeah, and that's very normal. That's very normal, normie progressive speak.
If I came to you and told you that some corporation had a department of corporate social responsibility, without knowing the name of the corporation, would you think it's very progressive and left leaning, or would you think it's conservative and right leaning?
I would say that is, to me, that's neither nor. That's corporatist speak. Like maybe I would say probably somewhat left, but it just doesn't matter that much anymore. The HR departments in public and
PR,
PR people,
public relations
are all. They all come from the same set of people. I'm not going to say anything more than that because I don't want to get in trouble.
They are woke.
It does matter, like you said. It doesn't matter because it's corporate.
Woke.
Yeah,
it's woke capital is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, because it's a culture war that does matter. So now you're accepting what you're thinking. What you're thinking is you can accept the language of the woke leftist progressive language of the culture war without actually adopting
what was the phrase again, Jeff?
Progressive principles. The phrase at the top of the website?
No. The corporate social responsibility.
Corporate social responsibility.
Oh my goodness, that's like Orwellian. But you know what I think of? You know what I think of when you say that? I think about the stupid the Dove beauty ads from a few years ago, and I think about
the Gillette
ad,
nonsense, yeah,
which are both the same thing.
Let me follow this trail. So kind of like what Ozzy was alluding to earlier, where, maybe it's not a Christian company. It was started by Christians, but now it's just a company that happens to have some of these things line up. I think that's the way it's trending, and it has trended that way as it has adopted some of, like you said, these normie corporate social responsibility PR kind of language. It's adopted those ideas too. So, for example, the guy who gave the Biz Now interview, which we all are still kind of confused because there's quotes like, "We want to just be very clear on who we are," or something like that.
Right. It was very imprecise. It was
a very imprecise quote about being clear, but then they're changing who they're giving to.
This is Chief Operating Officer Tim Tassopoulos.
Yeah. So
Tassopoulos.
It's a very Greek name. Tassopoulos.
Now he's been there with Chick-Fil-A for 30 plus years.
Yes. Tassopoulos, or however you would say it. Yeah. It's a very Greek name. Okay.
Freaking hopeless.
Here's some of his resume though. Okay. So he continues to serve as an advisor to the Boy Scouts, which is not a big thing. But remember, there was that thing a few years back, a year or two back, where the Boy Scouts caved to the lawsuits and allowed the whole transgender homosexual thing. And that's where you had the split off. What was it? Trail Life USA, I think. Some Christians started their own organization. Okay. He stuck with the Boy Scouts. He's still on as a advisor to the Boy Scouts. What else? He also, and again, you can pick and choose. I'm not saying if you're a Christian, you have to vote conservative, but he has also been a donor to both Obama and Hillary in their campaigns. Let's see. No, I'm sorry. That was different. Tassopoulos was not the other one. The executive director of the Chick-fil-A Foundation. So the guy who runs the social responsibility, he was a donor.
I was going to say, I didn't think you were right on that.
And Hillary. No, I mixed it up. But you've got the guy giving the interview, the PR guy, who has some questionable associations. You've got the guy who runs the charitable giving, that he has at least been willing to give his money to other people that support these similar LGBTQ causes. Okay. So I think you could see where some of the higher ups, like kind of Tombstone said, like Ozzy said, they're sick of taking it in the nose in the media. They want to see the company grow. They're trying to split the hair and say, hey, we're just a company making money.
Right.
We're not a church. We're not a whatever. And fine, they can do what they want to do. I think people on the right were extremely frustrated when this news came out, and I still think the initial article is slightly suspect in the way that it's written, and
it's
like
written
that.
to be confusing on purpose.
Yes.
The trouble is that Chick-fil-A has not come out and knocked it down.
Yes.
And if it is written to be confusing on purpose, and it was written as a hit piece, then you come out and you knock that bull crap down the next day in a very clear and definitive statement.
I want to know.
And they have not done that.
I want to know why Chick-fil-A hasn't come out either way and given a statement. That's what's weirding me out.
I think that interview, given to Biz
PR
Now,
behavior, though, they're actually making the right decision.
I agree.
No.
I think
they're testing the waters. They threw this interview out here. They gave it to a relatively unknown source. They put certain wording out there, and they're kind of seeing how it goes. And they're waiting to see which. And it kind of blew up a little bit.
My PR guy. Jeff,
it kind of blew up a little bit. And now they're waiting to see how to respond to this. And I don't think they are. But you can't.
I don't think they're worried about it. I really don't. I don't think it's something where it's just like, you know what? Here's this small piece. People are literally throwing mud at a wall and waiting for something to stick, and something stuck. And what are they going to do?
No.
How
are they throwing mud at a wall and waiting for someone to stick? No one's been throwing mud at Chick-fil-A as far as from our side, from the right. No one's been trying to get anything to stick to Chick-fil-A.
And now that you have all of these people, they're like, oh my gosh, Chick-fil-A's changing their policy, which expired, by the way. So all of these contracts with these things expired. So what? If they want to get somebody new, big deal.
Okay, so here's the new person they have. Here's one of the new organizations they have. They have I want to get the name of it right here. Okay, Covenant House.
Allegedly.
Covenant House.
Allegedly.
Is one of the
no, it is
one of the ones.
Is it?
It's one of the ones they named.
If you look at the notes, you can click on it and you can actually see from Chick-fil-A exactly what their donations and foundations
okay,
go
so
towards.
the other day, Covenant House was not confirmed, and so that's why
it is on. They have Junior Achievement USA, Covenant House, and then it says they support over 120 communities by $25,000 each to a local food banks at Chick-fil-A opening.
Because Covenant House, if I know anything about Covenant House,
here we go.
Not
founder. Founder, Catholic priest pedophile, sued for allegedly abusing the youth who are seeking shelter. Covenant House promotes LGBTQ on its website, and it does an inclusion assessment at every single one of its facilities. Yes, I'm looking actually at their website for this information. Okay. Covenant House also proudly supports the New York City Gay Pride Parade with its own float, and it's recognized as a national funder of LGBTQ causes. So Chick-fil-A has dumped the Salvation Army in its reassessment expire and has decided intentionally to pick a charity supposedly for homeless youth, but so the Salvation Army helps homeless youth too. And now this one that they've picked to help homeless youth also takes money that it gets and directly supports LGBTQ causes. Okay. When you're deciding who to donate to up at the corporate level, you're not just spinning a wheel and seeing where it lands. I mean, there's no way. Either you are completely in over your head and incompetent if you missed that in this company's structure, because it's right on its webpage about its inclusivity stuff, or you're intentionally selecting that organization for a reason.
Yeah.
Do any of you disagree with that?
Nope. I'm right there with you.
I mean, that seems like it seems like they're sending a signal. They're saying, hey, we're nice too. And in a way, here's the tough part about that signal. It's a tough battle to fight, because the left says just because you gave money to somebody that has a traditional view of marriage, you hate homosexuals. No. I think as Christians, we can all sit here and say we love homosexuals because we're commanded to love everyone. Everyone is made in the image of Christ. Everyone has a different sin that they struggle with. If a homosexual walks into your church, you are supposed to love them and support them and show them Christ. Now, you don't go to them in their sin and help them continue in their sin, but you meet them in their sin and you minister to them. You give them food, you give them clothing. And the trouble is is now you're kind of having to walk the line, because if you say, well, I love you, but I believe in traditional marriage, the media makes you out to be a hater. And so to try to avoid the hater image, you walk the line a little closer, and you walk the line a little closer to more just directly supporting you in your sin versus supporting your earthly needs, but loving you and pointing out your spiritual needs. And it's a very fine line to walk. That's why it's intended to be done on a more personal level, in a church level, obviously, than a big corporate level. But I think to tie it back all up with a bow, Ozzy and I were talking about this earlier in the week. I think a lot of people have put Chick-fil-A up on a massive pedestal because they held the line on a couple other issues.
Right.
That's more the people's fault for putting them on a pedestal than it is Chick-fil-A's fault. At the same time, Chick-fil-A was very intentional about some of the stances that they took. And so they kind of held themselves up as that champion in a few ways by taking that stance. Obviously, no one's perfect. No one organization is perfect. However, I feel like this is a compromise on Chick-fil-A's part because of the very intentional way that they are. Can you
say it's a compromise though, when the corporate structure that supported this vaguely traditionalist way of donating has been completely replaced with something else entirely?
That's true. It may not. We see it as a compromise because we see Chick-fil-A as a standalone. Those of us that see it as a compromise because of people see Chick-fil-A as this unchanging structure. I think Tombstone's hitting at something. And that's what I'm trying to comment on. In that Chick-fil-A is not just this changing monolith, that behind the scenes at the corporate level, things have been changing over the decades, and the humans that run the company are letting some more of this woke progressive culture, they're falling for it, or they're listening to it, or they believe in it, or whatever it is. And so there is actually a very slow sea change going on at corporate. So to them, it's not really a cave. It's a total corporate. It's a realignment. It's a corporate realignment. And if anything, it's pulling back the curtain, and it's no longer pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. It's, here's the new man behind the curtain. Yep. And it took a lot of people off guard because they didn't see the change, because Chick-fil-A has been so consistent over the years.
So let me ask you this question, Jeff.
Yes.
We've got Franklin Graham coming out defending Chick-fil-A right now, saying nothing has changed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Again.
Yeah.
Again. He claims,
does Franklin Graham have any credibility with our group, though? With this group?
Not anymore.
Really.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. He did?
I don't know.
I wouldn't say Franklin Graham
lost
all credibility, but
I'm not saying he's horrible, but like,
yeah. I mean, okay. We got to wrap this up, guys.
Okay, I'm gonna keep eating at Chick-fil-A, and I'll tell you why.
That's my question.
Exactly.
Because they have darn good chicken.
Hold the outro. Hold the outro. I need to explain this.
Hold the music.
Okay.
I actually have a story. So I have an internet acquaintance who I used to talk to, who was I don't know what she was. She was something in the spectrum of LGBTQ things, and we had a conversation a few years ago. When did this first come up? Like 2010, 2011,
2012, like I think it was. I think it was 2012.
And we were having a casual conversation. I was like, I don't eat at Chick-fil-A because I agree with their theology or their politics. I eat there because I like eating there. So I haven't really changed my mind on that. Everybody's got to eat somewhere.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and I think that's the key. I think. And I hope most of us on the right, we've said
this was at the beginning of the modern. Sorry, I'm sorry, Jeff. This is at the beginning of the modern phase of the culture war, where you had to everybody was getting woke one way or the other, right and left. I was like, when it comes to food, I just don't like to be woke. I like to eat.
And I think for those of us,
I'm not that way about everything. Maybe I'm a hypocrite. I don't know, but.
I don't think boycotts necessarily are the right in most areas. So to boycott just because you think they changed something, I mean, like you said, they serve good food. I'm still going to eat their food. I ate their food the day after they made this announcement. However,
the day of.
I also think
I ate compromised chicken while Jeff was yelling at me.
I also think that a lot of people still liked it's frustrating when you know that the money you're giving to a corporation, they're turning around and they're donating to causes that are directly against you. And at times you like to feel like yes, we do it all the time. And there's many times that we do it.
Talk about Wendy's. You want to talk
and there's
about
many, Wendy's actually donates a lot to adoption, but anyway,
They do. That's a good point.
The point I'm trying to make is that, yes, we do it all the time. And if you were to stop giving to every company, if you were to stop buying things from every company that didn't agree with you, you wouldn't buy anything. You'd be living in a little house on the prairie again and growing your own food. That's why boycotts don't necessarily work. But there are also times that it feels nice to know that for once, the money you're giving to some organization because you like their product also isn't being turned around against you. And matter of fact, maybe even being used for things that you agree with. And I think that's why people betrayed is they were like, only did they have really good food. You know, it's not like it was Taco Bell and they were forcing themselves to eat questionable nonsense just because they were donating to a good cause. The food is really good. So you're like, I'm going here because I'm addicted to the chicken and the fries. But it's also nice to know the money's not being used against me. Now that's faded and the money very well might be being used against you. But hey,
I'm just going to retire, let Jeff have my slot on the show because he's got it going on.
That's why we need more cowbell and more Tombstone because Tombstone, I am alone here.
Cowbell.
You are alone.
I'm just saying, I don't.
Chick-fil-A is just darn good.
I know. The Covenant House thing really weirds me out. I wasn't. Look, Jeff. I wasn't on the compromise bus until Covenant House.
Judas Chicken. Or as the Babylon Bee says, the lemonade is turning to blood.
She sounds like she'd be fun to go on a date with.
Tombstone, you and I have apparently very similar tastes in women.
Yes, because
or used to.
Right?
I have heard you guys' stories.
Hey, man.
Oh, it's scary.
I have some good news.
I wingmanned.
Oh, never mind. I don't have good news.
Him.
That was oh my! I forgot about that. That was a really.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
Tombstone and I have found very amazing, stable women, and we are so thankful. Stable women.
Alyssa's like, I'm trying to think of a flattering metaphor for something stable. I was going to say.
No, I was thinking mentally stable.
Don't do it.
Yeah, right. She is.
Yeah,
yeah, but the way you said stable women just made it sound like farm workers.
Oh no.
Or worse. So I don't. I would
don't
go
confuse
back and
stable
edit that,
for
maybe.
unimaginative, Jeff.
Yeah, right. No, like we
Ben just looked at me. I'm going to stop talking.
Tombstone and I are very fortunate.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
That's the problem.
Tombstone and I are very fortunate that we didn't end up with crazy.
Yes, you are.
Because we both dated our fair share of crazy. And
what's ironic is that you drove off all the crazies. So what does that say about the two of you?
Well, we're a little bit more BSC than the rest of them.
I'm just saying that my best friend in college stole the crazy that I was going after.
And you are welcome.
Bless him.
I took one for the team.
Man.
Oh, wait. Okay, was I not supposed to say that out loud?
All right. Whiplash, doing a tax, Whiplash segue. I have really good news. So as you all know, not both.
Tesla now has a Cybertruck.
Oh, dear Lord.
Ben, we're going to reduce your caffeine.
We're going to reduce his microphone time.
So, Aaron can mute him on the far end.
Kind of. But anyways, continue.
So the Revolutionary War was won in South Carolina, as I'm sure you all know.
Was this when they were bombing the ramparts?
This is when they were bombing. This
Was
is
this when
this
they-
is
did they
after
take the
this
last
is
airport?
after this is after the Revolutionary Air Force stormed JFK in 1782.
Okay.
But before the Revolutionary Air Force attacked the columns that the British had going to Yorktown in 1785.
With the
anyways,
warthogs.
with the A-10 Warthog, exactly.
Yes.
That's a good plane for it. I'm just saying.
So
It is.
anyways, so Nick Searcy, I don't know if you guys know who Nick Searcy is.
I know the name.
He's a conservative actor. He's a character actor. He's not like a very popular actor, and he makes fun of himself all the time. It's kind of funny. But he is putting
So he's
together
like
a
us,
movie.
not popular, and makes fun of
Not
themselves.
popular.
No, we don't. We make fun of each other.
Oh, okay, there we go. He's not like us.
Anyways, he is doing a movie about the Battle of Kings Mountain in North Carolina.
Oh, interesting.
And they're filming it all in North Carolina this year, apparently. And
Please tell me they're not
it
filming
should
it
be
at Kings
awesome.
Mountain.
They're not filming it at Kings Mountain. They're filming it in Hickory, apparently.
Historic accuracy. I'm telling
So
you.
let me hang on. Let me read the article. It has been. This is boilerplate. They're filming it on a 50-acre plot of land near Hickory that's home to the largest collection of historic log buildings in the U.S.
That's random.
So,
Interesting.
well, you gotta have. If you want to do a really good movie, you gotta have log buildings. That's like how it works. Speaking of which,
speaking of period movies,
yes,
have you
there's
guys
only
finally-
one. Hold on.
No.
Have you
there's
guys-
only
Where's
one.
this going?
have you
I know
guys
it
finally
can only go one
seen-
place.
Have you guys finally seen the Free State of Jones yet?
So,
No.
I thought
okay.
you were going to ask
No.
about Last of
No.
the Mohicans.
That is a good movie.
That's a good one too.
Based on
That
the
is a good
Trello list,
movie.
that's not where I thought that was going at all. I thought it was a terrible segue.
I'm completely lost at this moment in time.
No, that's fine.
It's all right. We're back. So
Where
where
are
is
we
Tombstone going? You never let Tombstone started a point that was going to be
Yeah.
a salient point, and you didn't let him finish it.
My only point is that the movie should be really good. I'm really excited about
Nick
it.
Searcy's that
Never mind.
guy.
It wasn't that sell a point.
Nick Searcy's that guy who is literally in everything. You just don't recognize.
He's in
him.
a lot of stuff.
He was in
He played-
Moneyball, Fried Green Tomatoes, Castaway, The Fugitive.
I forgot he was in The Fugitive.
He was in
He played Art Mullen in Justified,
Days
which
of
is he did a
Thunder.
really good job in.
Head of State with what's his name? Good.
He's definitely like a working character
Chris
actor.
Rock.
He's not a real handsome dude. He's just a middle-aged guy that likes to act.
Yeah, he's in just a ton of stuff. Absolute ton of stuff.
But anyways, no. But it reminds me. The reason I thought about Last of the Mohicans, because Last of the Mohicans was filmed in North Carolina, and it turned out amazingly. So was Hunger Games, for that matter. So,
Well, you know.
that one didn't turn out as well. It was actually okay.
Okay, where are we going from here?
I don't know.
I watched
What's
it.
on Trello?
I watched it for Jennifer Lawrence.
Well, that
I did too
boy.
before I met my wife. Well, before I dated
you
my
guys
wife, I should
thought
say.
Jennifer Lawrence was okay.
She was very attractive.
What is the next? What is the next?
Jeff, crazy. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So I went and saw Midway, the movie Midway.
I have also
Oh,
seen
so
it.
we're finally.
Is that with Kevin Costner?
No.
No.
Wait, who is in that? Who is in that?
Woody Harrelson.
Quaid,
It was a lot
Dennis
of
Woody
Quaid
Harrelson.
and Woody
Yes,
Harrelson.
Woody
There's a lot
Harrelson.
of people in it.
Which is weird. After seeing him in anger management, I don't know if I can see him in a uniform.
He actually did a really good job. Everybody did a good job.
It was excellent. It kind of just like it cut through all of the. You remember Pearl Harbor, where it was just like, okay, you have this random side story, random other things. It was just kind of like
Pearl
about
Harbor
an hour-
was Pearl
like
Harbor
an
was
hour
a
longer
random
than it
love
needed to be.
action story. Well,
Yes.
it was a random love action set in a historical event.
right.
Midway
There's
is
not. There's
Was
no.
not
So
that.
in
it's
the
supposed
movie,
to be a dramatization of an actual historical event.
there is no
nothing.
romantic subplot. There's
Nothing.
just chain smoking,
It's
hard drinking
amazing.
dudes killing Japs and using swear words while they do it. That's all
Yep.
it is.
Yep.
I
And it
don't-
was great. It was great.
I don't know if that's quite
okay,
the-
did you guys see?
Jeff
you guys
wants a
saw
love
Dunkirk?
story. Jeff wants a love story.
Wait, wasn't Dunkirk was the one that was actually like really slow, wasn't it?
It started slow.
It
Yes.
started
It
slow.
started very slow.
But think like the new Dunkirk, where it has literally no other plot. Like it moves from one.
It's the actual
to the
event.
next. To
Midway,
the next. Yes.
and the movie is very
Yes.
well paced. It's
Yes.
very well paced. It's not slow.
Yes,
It's
it
not
was
slow at all.
Awesome. It was awesome.
Oh,
very
hey.
very historic.
Guys, did you see release date December 25th, 1917?
So no, I didn't see it.
1917.
Ooh.
Did you see the trailer for it?
I have seen the trailer, yes.
This is
That
a World
looks
War
interesting.
One
Mhm.
movie.
Isn't that the one
This-
that's like supposed to be
yes.
shot in one shot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's got the feel of one shot.
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I read about it, and I still
I think
don't
it's
think
gonna-
I quite
it's gonna
understand
make
what that
money.
style
Alright,
is.
for sure.
But
So basically, what it does is think about, all right, so it's supposed to take place during a couple hours of the event, right? And you're
Mhm.
supposed to follow one character, and it's supposed to be one character, one camera, and the whole time you're in on that one person. It never cuts away.
You gotta,
So-
you gotta watch the
yeah.
behind the scenes
Oh, it's
movie
excellent.
because like
Yeah.
Excellent.
they take a camera. If you guys have never been in like a production environment watching like camera work and everything, they are running down a trench line with a camera. They load it onto a dolly that floats it up in the air while
Yep.
shooting the guy running across a field. Drop back down, guys grab the camera off of it and jump down into another trench.
now, my understanding, hearing some about it, was they didn't literally shoot it one camera.
No, they
They
but it's spliced
had to use
together
multiple
so that
ones, but it's spliced together for that
yes,
feel.
Yes.
right, and it's just a continuation.
Yeah,
Continuous
it's
Honestly, it
one
sounds like my
smooth shot.
blood pressure is going to go through the roof.
It's
Yeah.
gonna
It's
be
not-
amazing.
It's like it's essentially like you're like following this guy in like a third person shooter, then like just following him through the whole thing, almost like a video game thing where the camera is just always behind the one guy following the
no,
one guy's action all the way through.
Think of it like the cutscenes of a first-person shooter, more
yeah.
or less. Like it's very
Yeah.
good. It's very very good.
So,
Either way,
talking
it
about
looked
first-person
interesting.
shooters. The Midway movie. When I saw the trailers for it, I was not impressed. I don't know if you guys have seen any like Chinese war movies.
Yeah.
They're really like lots of explosions and lots of CGI and stuff. I
No,
did not
that's
think
Michael
it was going to
Bay.
be good.
It's Michael Bay you're thinking.
No. The Chinese ones are even more over the top, like
Oh, okay.
Michael Bay and then triple it. So
I
Think
the
Power
first
Rangers.
do that.
yeah, the first
So that's
few
fair.
minutes of it,
Japanese.
it is pretty over the top. Like the movie is pretty over the top, but it works, especially in the combat scenes when you're in the dive bombers. Which, by the way, Jeff, you're familiar with the SBD-3 dive bomber.
Mhm. The Dauntless. Yeah.
I've never seen the SBD get so much on-screen love. It's awesome.
Yep.
Even
Nice.
if it is a computer generated plane, it's still pretty cool. Dive flaps the whole 9 yards.
It'll wet your whistle, man.
Don't ever say that again. And I really enjoyed it. It made me smile. I mean, parts that were sad, parts that were awesome.
It is excellent. It really is.
And
you get a
honestly, I
lot.
was on the edge of my seat, and I know what happens. I was still on the edge of my seat.
And they did a really good job.
I've been craving a new World War II aviation related movie.
Oh, definitely.
So
Definitely
this
goes-
will be-
Definitely,
'cause-
yes.
Because you remember there was Pearl Harbor, but like you said, it had all the other stuff kind of with it. I think Pearl Harbor is a good movie, but like we said, Pearl Harbor was a romance story set in a historical World War II event.
So
Right.
you guys
and
have
then
all
like
seen
Red Tails,
Tor, right?
Red Tails kind of bombed
yeah.
a little bit. I felt
Okay.
like
We have
So-
awakened the sleeping giant.
You know they've been borrowing footage from Tora ever since it was made. Pearl Harbor borrowed
Yes.
footage from it. There was an Australian movie made a few years ago that borrowed footage for it. Like to me, it's just crazy, but nobody's ever actually blown up that many planes on screen before, so they keep using it.
Nice. So, like I said, I've been with Pearl Harbor. I thought they did good flying scenes in it. I thought that Red Tails kind of was just. I wanted
can't
that
make
movie to be
myself sound
better.
Red Tails.
I wanted it to be better than it was. It
Yes.
didn't come out as well as it I hoped it would. So I've been craving a new World War II aviation related movie. So
This will do it. It honestly will. It's got aircraft carriers. It's got
someone needs to do
everything.
something about Flying Tigers. Like the last movie about the Flying Tigers was like
yeah.
John Wayne. So
There's a hilarious movie about the Flying Tigers with John Belushi in it. I think it's called 1941 or something like that.
What?
Okay.
Never mind.
All right.
Were you there when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
No. He actually made a movie where he's
you?
flying around in a P-40 trying not to hit stuff. It's
John
hilarious.
Belushi.
Mathis was there
He
when Reagan
remembers.
announced that the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor right after the Russians took down the wall.
Oh,
And he was only 6 years old when it happened,
Right,
but he
that's right.
remembers it.
guys,
You can rent Tora on Amazon Prime for $4.
It's a great movie.
did you guys? I know this is total pivot here.
How about the final countdown? Have you seen that?
Oh, that's
I
the
don't know
one where
what
the
that
ship
is.
disappears.
That's the
into
one where the modern battleship gets sucked back to right before
Hold
World
on.
War II.
Did you?
Yes.
Have you seen the old version of that?
No, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
No.
There's a new version.
There's two versions
wait.
of that movie. There's like a 1980s version of the movie
Yeah.
and a 2006 or something.
Oh no, I
Wait,
didn't know
what?
the 2006
Yeah.
one existed.
They're
The
both-
1980s one is the only
old
one.
vintage one.
They're
man.
both on
Yeah.
Amazon. They're both on Amazon.
Was that before
I'll have
or
to check
after
out
the wall?
I'll have to check out the newer one because
Good
I
question.
only knew of the older one.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that sounds great.
Okay, so speaking of movies that you guys have seen, did you guys see the new Charlie's Angels?
No.
No.
Pass.
Elizabeth
I don't
Banks.
know that I saw the old Charlie's Angels, to be honest.
Oh, you didn't with Cameron Diaz and
I've seen some of them.
Mac.
Wait.
Oh,
Are you talking
No,
about the TV show, or are you talking about the
No,
first
I'm talking about the movies. The movies.
re-release of it?
The first
It hasn't been
re-release
that
was with
long,
Cameron
right?
Diaz.
It was like 90s,
Oh
wasn't it?
no, I don't
was
even think it was
90s.
90s. It was 2000. It had Bernie
Yeah,
Mac in it.
2000s.
Bernie Mac was
Really?
Bernie
Okay.
Mac was the guy behind the desk.
That's right. I forgot
And so it was
about that.
before he died. It was before he passed away. Anyways, so Elizabeth Banks, you know her from Hunger Games. She's the crazy woman,
Effie.
right? Effie.
Wait.
Yeah. She says that it had a poor opening. Charlie's Angels had a poor opening. Now, mind you, this is the Charlie's Angels, the third reboot, had a poor opening because, quote, men are too stupid to enjoy feminist cinema.
I agree.
Wait, but I thought the other excuse was that everything was still just chauvinistic, and so women's movies didn't do as well, or something like that. Like,
Well,
did
pretty
the
much.
excuse change?
What they need to do is they need to come up with a good
So,
movie. That's
so
what
I
they need to do.
I started thinking about this though. Number one, she was in the Hunger Games. The heroine was a
Strong female.
strong female role.
Well,
Although that's actually not true
hence-
because
hence
everything
the
that
name
happens in Hunger
heroine.
Games happens to Katniss. It's not things that she does. But
watch out.
Oh, hush yourself.
Watch out.
I'm not blaming that.
Peeta's
I'm not
the
saying
real
it's
hero.
a bad movie. I'm just saying that it's not as good as it could have been. I'm not. I'll stop talking.
I understand where you're coming from, but all I'm saying is that
That's not my original take, by the way. The last psychiatrist wrote
She
an
was-
entire article about it.
She was a strong role, regardless. She was whether or not she was the heroine or
As-
whatever. She was a big part of that movie.
It was an
As
entertaining
Steve-
movie,
as Steve
unlike
Dave
apparently
said the other
new
day.
movie.
People talking about all this stuff. The 80s with Star Wars, Princess Leia, like
Oh, good grief, yeah.
the first thing she says to Luke, "You're a little short for a stormtrooper," and then they're in the hallway and she's like, "Never mind, I'll get us out of here." Grabs the blaster, shoots the grate, and they jump down in the garbage pit. Like,
Okay.
no one has had problem with strong female roles in movies for a long
I know
time.
we have. I have intentionally tried to avoid this,
No.
but
But we're going to go down the rabbit
we're
hole
going down the
anyway.
rabbit hole.
Oh no!
Let's do
End
it.
Here it
game.
goes.
Endgame.
Yeah.
Oh
When
boy!
all
okay.
the females
Oh, don't
unite
start. No.
and they're like, "Let's go!"
I haven't
like,
seen it.
All right.
All the female lead,
Hold on,
all
hold
the
on, hold on.
female roles.
I have
Stop.
got. Well,
Stop.
no,
Pause.
No.
Tombstone has not seen
I don't want to talk to
Endgame.
him. I've
What
seen
is
it like
I
4
can
times.
only watch. I don't do comic book movies. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're a.
Ugh.
Yeah, I got
I'm-
some words
you
for you.
need to
guys.
watch the Marvel
Again,
movies.
I'm a particular type of uncultured. It is what it is.
All right. Anyway, so getting into that, what I found funny about that scene, personally,
But you don't need to worry
being-
about spoilers, so I just don't care.
personally being, you know, who I am, is I found it funny that you have Captain Marvel, right? So
Yeah.
Captain Marvel has
I know where you're
proven
going with.
to be the most powerful being in the entire Marvel universe. Okay, which I'll give it. That's fine.
Spoiler
Cool.
alert! Spoiler
Great.
alert!
Whatever.
If you haven't
Okay,
heard that.
so why are all these women helping her
Yeah,
to get to Thanos, and she
Another
doesn't
spoiler
need their
alert.
help.
she just flew through
She literally
Thanos' ship.
needed no one of their help.
And you've got like
Right.
someone with a spear and
she
like
just-
the Wasp who has no special powers. She just has a suit.
And I'm not negating the fact that the other women have powers that are useful, but she did not need help.
No,
She
it
literally needed no one's help to be able to defeat Thanos on her
it
own.
felt extremely contrived. Also,
Yes, it did.
if she just flew through the entire length of Thanos' massive ship, why didn't she just fly through Thanos and end it?
That'd be
because
weird,
Tony
man.
Stark had to, man.
Yeah,
dude.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Tony, never mind. I'm not gonna. Yeah, never. Oh, hey, another heroine, another female heroine, Wonder Woman. Iron Man is not.
Okay,
Wonder Woman was a fun movie.
No,
Actually,
I
enjoyed it.
love
Wonder
Wonder
Woman
Woman.
was not bad.
I
Wonder
really
Woman was
enjoyed
not
Wonder
bad.
Woman.
there might be a lot of people that argue that actually the depiction of Wonder Woman is rather sexist, even though it is a strong female
I mean,
hero
aside from the fact that she's not wearing any
sexy
clothes,
and
yes.
armor.
Yeah, but the thing is though, you can't have a problem with Wonder Woman because the director was a woman, correct?
I believe so. Also,
Which means that which is ironic because everything that would
Gal
happen
Gadot
that
did
you
a
would
great
call-
job with that movie, by the way. And so that's like the only DC Universe movie that I think I actually. Well, if you go back to the old Batmans,
I will say-
the Christian Bale Batmans,
Christian
I like.
Bale. What
No,
about
no, no.
Unbreakable?
Did you watch Shazam?
No,
No, not
Shazam.
yet.
Shazam was not bad. It is the best Marvel movie DC has ever made, I think.
Really?
Wait, what?
It really was. It was good. I think it was better than Wonder Woman.
It's with the guy from
personally.
Chuck.
Did you mean the best superhero movie DC has ever made?
No. I meant the best Marvel movie DC has ever made.
Oh, okay.
Because it's
Okay.
very comparable to like I
I
guess
didn't
like
mean
you
to
go
blow
off,
up your
like,
analogy.
the lower level Marvel movies.
Like Ant-Man?
Right.
Ant-Man was a great movie.
Ant-Man was good.
Don't knock Ant-Man.
Yeah. No, Ant-Man was a great movie. Ant-Man's great because it's one of those like funny movie.
Yeah.
There's like the bigger, more cinematic, serious Marvel movies like Captain America
But it
or
was-
Iron Man, and then you've got like Ant-Man, which is funny.
It was good. The problem that I have with the DC movies is every single villain is a demon from hell. And
Yes.
they cannot come up with anything better.
So it's like real life then.
No, it's not.
I would have kind of thought you would have liked that, but
I'm just not. I'm really not into it.
No,
I just don't.
neither am I.
And they don't really build up. They just all of a sudden they appear, and you're like, where did these people come from, and why are they all like evil?
All of a sudden, they're the boss, and you got to destroy the boss.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
There's
It's
no build up.
Yeah,
I like.
that's why I don't watch
I
comic
like-
movies because
Never
I don't
mind.
like being disappointed every time I watch one.
We don't like
Except
being
for Iron Man.
disappointed when
Iron
we have
Man's
to talk
awesome.
to you about them. So
Well-
let's end this segment.
well, Tombstone, if you like Iron Man, you have to watch the Avengers movies because literally the entire it
I've
is
seen two-
Tony
I've seen two of
Stark's
them.
arc.
I've seen two of them, and the second one was boring.
It is literally Tony Stark's story.
Yeah.
You have to watch it.
I don't even know what a Thanos is.
Okay,
It makes me cry. That's what it is.
guys, we talked about Marvel. It's all on Disney Plus right now.
No, it's not.
Go. Yes.
Well,
what?
most of them are on Disney
Most
Plus.
of it.
Most of it's
It's
on Disney Plus.
It's
A couple of them are on Netflix still.
Right,
It's
but
true.
if you own them, you're good. Disney Plus. First impressions: good, bad, ugly.
I like
I'm
it.
watching all the Star Wars in chronological order.
I like it. I'm not gonna lie.
I went back to view all movies, and I'm going through the old school throwbacks.
Guys,
So
they have
are we.
Darkwing Duck.
Awesome.
They have,
Oh my gosh,
Darkwing Duck. They
yes!
have Tailspin.
Tailspin.
Oh, they do. I did not know that. Whoa!
Yes,
DuckTales.
DuckTales. Yes.
Are
Yes.
you serious?
Yep.
I'm nerding
Oh yeah,
out,
and they
guys.
have all of like the old Marvel stuff too, like the old Spider-Man's, X-Men, all that
Childhood
jazz.
relived.
It's awesome.
Must have been a bad batch around here because Floyd counties went crazy in the last 4 days. When I finally got down here to the house to look to see what happened, the door was standing wide open. It looked like he was packing up for a yard sale when he come out. He was lying, throwing his hands, saying stuff like, I didn't do it, you know how rogues do, and blaming on everybody else. He did pull a gun on me when I got back around the house because I guess he thought I was upset with him. who steals a cheese grater. He's got the words Lysol. He stole an empty bottle of spray. What got me the most was my soap. He stole my soap. Who steals soap?
Guys, did you see the article that just came out? I guess it's a week old now, but this business is giving employees an extra 6 days off if they're not smokers.
I think
Why?
it's brilliant.
Why?
That's
Because
awesome.
they're not wasting time off the clock.
No, I think that's great. If you get a smoke break like every so often, I mean, add up that time of how much more time off someone gets because they get their smoke breaks to satisfy a craving.
What are you legally required to have? It's 15 minutes every 4 hours, right?
Correct.
And then a half hour
30-minute lunch, I think.
30-minute lunch.
Right.
At the 4 hour mark.
15 minutes and a 30-minute lunch.
Yeah.
Right. So you get two
and
paid
I guess that's in
15s
9
and a lunch.
hours.
Depends on. No. So you get the 15 minutes are incorporated into the 4 hours.
Okay.
The lunch break is not. So
I didn't
technically,
know
it's
that.
an 8. If it's an 8.5, if you have a half hour lunch, 9 hour if it's.
Oh my
full
goodness!
hour.
I can go back and sue all my former employees or
Do it.
employers, and my employees could probably sue me too.
Yes.
I will
Blood.
sue
By
my
the way,
employees.
Tombstone is writing up a lawsuit as we speak against you. So
Well,
Dun, dun, dun.
sorry, no breaks.
I
Guys.
think this is brilliant. It is sadly from Tokyo, which doesn't really help us here. So,
No, okay. Let me ask you this though: how many
No,
smokers
wait,
have you guys
wait.
actually worked with over the years?
I worked with a lot.
Yeah.
previous jobs, a lot.
Depends.
I would say I currently work with a lot.
Really,
You work
in New
at-
Jersey, in New
Because
Jersey.
you work where you work.
Yes.
I mean, what does a pack of smokes cost in New Jersey? $15?
Sure.
That's cheap.
I don't
that's
know. I
probably
don't
cheap.
smoke.
Well,
I have
South
no
Carolina,
idea.
it's a little over $5. We have
I-
the cheapest cigarettes anywhere.
I
know-
want to say.
I know in
I want to
Nebraska
say
it's
it's.
5
I want
or
to say
6.
it's like 7 to 9 or something. Somewhere in there. I want to say. I really don't know. To be honest with you, because
like
I don't. Smoke,
Every
so.
time I go into the gas station, there is someone behind the counter who's like, "Oh, I'm going on a smoke break." Like every time, every single
All right.
time. And so 6 days, it makes sense.
What brand do you want, Tombstone? Oh, this is old data. Never mind.
Lucky Strikes, of course.
Going with a cheap brand, eh?
This is bad data. I thought
So
I had
I'm going to tell you something.
New
Let me
Jersey
tell you
data.
something funny. Nobody will become your friend faster than a smoker who doesn't think you're judging them for being a smoker. I have exploited this to my benefit.
Yeah. So
Okay. I'm super curious.
Well, there's like a social capital thing. Like if you're not a smoker and you're around other smokers, especially if there's not a lot of them, then you can bond over the fact that you don't really care that they smoke. That's basically it.
Interesting. See,
I've never noticed that.
I never let it bother me, but I can't stand the smell of cigarette smoke.
I see. It doesn't bother me actually.
it does
Average-
me. I'm not a
Average
huge
price
fan.
per pack of smokes in New Jersey, $8.20.
Ah,
There you go.
interesting. What's it
There
in
you go.
Nebraska, Jeff?
They probably
Nebraska,
haven't discovered it yet.
6.23.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You're still rolling your own.
No.
8 in Michigan,
Interesting.
and South Kakalaki is 5.85.
$5.85.
Yep,
It is
that
cheap.
sounds right.
Good grief. No, like
I find this to be a really good incentive. I'm just saying, because if you had a company incentive, I mean, my company gives incentives for, being healthy. If you're not a smoker, then you get cheaper insurance. Yada, yada,
We
yada, stuff
actually
like
get
that.
money straight into our HSA if you're not a smoker, or if
Right.
you sign up for a quit smoking program. They give
But
you
I'm
money.
saying,
back.
like, if you could get 6 extra days off because
yeah.
of that is a huge incentive. I'm just saying.
Now,
that's 48
most
hours.
important question.
That's a big incentive.
Is this a government mandated program, or did a specific company come up with it?
no, this is
Looks like
company.
it's this company,
just a
yeah.
company.
Okay.
This is
then it's an excellent program.
this is Piala Incorporated, a marketing firm in Tokyo, decided to make the change after non-smoking workers complained they were working more hours than their smoking counterparts.
I mean,
Okay, so
I
question.
think it's a great idea.
If the employee does not take extra breaks and smokes off the clock, are they entitled to the 6 hours?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or do they have to sign a thing saying they didn't smoke? Or they don't smoke?
I think it. Well, I don't know. I don't know how that
say.
goes.
All right, I would say this isn't. From what it looks like, it doesn't look like it's an insurance thing. It doesn't look like you're gaining extra incentive. I mean, I guess you are.
Are they paid days off? They're paid days off.
Yeah,
right?
they're paid days off.
So,
That's 6 days.
So maybe, I don't know.
So that's you're gaining something extra. I would say if you're a smoker that can prove that you never take that you do not consistently take your smoke breaks on company time,
right, you should be entitled to it.
Yeah.
I'd be super curious about it.
Curious, like,
or if they're attempting, to social engineer here and convince people to stop smoking,
which is again another good incentive.
Which is fine.
Right. I don't have a problem with that as a private business.
So,
but then again, I don't have a problem with private businesses encouraging any good lifestyle behavior.
I don't necessarily.
Are you looking for an argument?
No. I'm just saying I'm.
You're wrong.
I'm thinking back to the.
I hate that I agree with you.
I'm thinking back to other things like Chick-Fil-A and their donations. I mean,
you're trying to find a way to defend Chick-fil-A?
No, I'm not trying to defend them.
Now, what would happen if Chick-fil-A did this in America? That's the question. Actually, it's really not. I'm just kind of getting off topic, but everybody have a stink about it, though.
Probably, because everyone has a stink about Chick-fil-A for everything else.
Yes.
It's unfair to the smokers.
I think it's great incentive.
Just think, though, like...
Where else are we going here?
For Tombstone, for example, who is clearly addicted to his energy drinks, like, what if his job just gave him, 5 minutes every hour to go drink an energy drink just because he's addicted to them?
Right.
Like, does anybody else get their addictions catered to?
The difference is I can drink and drive.
Oh, I thought you were going to say... I thought
you probably shouldn't do that.
I thought he was going to say I could stop any time.
I can't. I cannot stop anytime. We're long past that.
Hey, guys, I'm 2+ years with no caffeine. I learned that the other day.
No, you said no sodas, not no caffeine.
Very, 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 very little caffeine. Every once in a great blue moon, like once or twice a year, I have had an espresso.
That's awesome.
So once or twice a year, he just takes a massive hit of caffeine.
Yeah, no sugar, no sugary drinks, and no soda.
Well, let's see.
You're saying
calculating this.
You're drinking orange juice and stuff.
No,
right?
No orange juice.
No orange juice.
No, I'm drinking mostly water. Mostly water.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, aren't you special?
I'm drinking mostly Propel Smart Water, which is 90% sugar.
No, just straight up straight up ice mountain water, guys. Ice mountain. Okay.
That's so nice. All right.
Guys, we got to talk about South Dakota. This is a great segment to talk about South Dakota.
We're on it. We're on it.
South Dakota released a new public relations ad that is completely messed up. That was for you, Tombstone.
So I mean, you've got Stop Text, Stop Rex. You've got Mad Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Well, South Dakota a couple years ago
what's
had
this one.
So South Dakota a couple years
Click
ago.
It or Ticket.
No, this is South Dakota Meth. We're on it. This isn't the first time they've done a controversial PR campaign.
No, you just rolled. Wait! You just rolled past that so fast. I don't even know if the listeners got it. The campaign to crack down on methamphetamine use is meth. We're on it.
Yes. And now I understand what they're trying to say, and I understand. Yes, I do.
Are
they
trying to sympathize with them? Don't worry, guys. We're cool
understand.
too.
No, I completely understand what they're trying to say.
Yeah, they're trying to say that it's a state issue.
Are you sure? Are you sure this isn't like the dad trying to be cool with his teenager?
No.
Dude,
how many PR firms did this have to go through? And everyone just rubber stamped it and said it's okay?
Well, they spent $500,000, Jeff.
This is bureaucracy at its finest.
And the governor, I was in South Dakota the other day, staying up there overnight, and so I had national news on the next morning, and I saw the governor.
Were you on Meth?
And that's when you realized this was just a declaration. It's not an anti-drug campaign. It's just a declaration. Meth, we're on it.
I'm trying to defend them.
It's not going to work. There's no defending.
A couple years ago, they did a.
How can you not take this horribly?
A couple years ago, they did an ad campaign that was "Don't jerk and drive," which was to prevent road rage. Yeah. Silence.
This was a family-friendly show.
Was it the same? Yes. Yes. Good use of the button.
Welcome. It was a little delayed, but I got it.
Was it the same PR firm by any chance? Are they like going home to their teenagers and asking for suggestions?
I'm not sure, Jeff. I did not want to Google it and try to figure this out.
Governor goes to his teenage son and is like, what do you think we should call this Meth thing? Meth, we're on it. How about that?
Yeah. And 10 years ago, he went over to his teenage son and, what should we say about road rage? Don't jerk and drive.
No, pull up.
So, yes, it's just that they are not very intelligent out there in South Dakota, apparently.
I need to find a job, man. I could get paid a lot of money for this stuff.
I don't understand. Now,
they stole
the one thing I will say.
Who steals soap?
If their goal was to draw attention to themselves in their campaign,
they're doing a bang-up job.
They have done an excellent job.
Don't say that.
There's no such thing as negative press.
Well, see, that's my other theory, is that this was well intentioned, and that they knew this was going to get national attention, and they're hoping for extra donations to the
it is cause. Either a masterful troll
Are they hoping
or
for
total incompetence.
Donations to no,
I cannot see past the 5-year-old here.
Donations in order to try to fix the issue, Ozzy.
Not samples, not product samples.
I think Jeff's onto something. I think this is a PR thing. I think this was genius.
I think somebody threw it out as a joke, especially based on their other failed foray into PR campaigns.
Yeah.
And then they said, "Wait a second, we could make a lot of media attention about this. So let's do it."
Remember, Nebraska's tourism campaign is "We're not for everyone."
Is like the Midwest really that desperate for attention?
Okay. Half of the Midwest is just a giant cornfield.
They're like California's burning, the East Coast is going up. What are we gonna do now?
Let's try to run everyone off. Let's run everyone off.
Well, technically, they had an anti-road rage campaign, so I don't think they're trying to run everyone off the road.
It's true. Guys, I think we should get a break.
Cut it out.
Where's the music?
We're imploding here.
Last time it was stop the music. Now it's just roll the music.
Tombstone shut down. He's like, I can't say anything without it becoming very inappropriate.
He won't even acknowledge it.
So, like all normal people, we were spending this last week sending each other pictures of knives. And Ozzy sends a picture of his daughter with a knife.
Yes.
And is that her first knife?
That is her officially first knife. So we stopped in Tennessee at the Smoky Mountain Knife Works and picked her up a knife. So,
what kind of knife is it?
It is a buck knife.
How many Band-Aids does she have on her fingers?
Right now, one. And it is sharp as all get out. I mean, it's crazy sharp. So we go out, and
technically a sharper knife is safer if you know how to use one.
Yeah. Well, we've been practicing for probably a year or so. She's been handling my knives, and we've been whittling.
Practicing on her younger brothers and sisters, the dog. Oh, wait, no.
Not yet. Anyway, so we get outside, and she has the knife. I handed her the knife inside. She gets outside, and we go grab a couple sticks, and then, she grabs the stick or whatever. Her sleeve comes up slightly, and she just has about this inch cut on her hand, on the top of her hand already. And I went, "That's blood. You cut yourself with your knife." And she went, "No, I didn't." No.
It's your arm, kid.
No, I didn't.
I tripped. That's
I didn't
what it was.
do that. I didn't cut myself with a knife. And I'm like, there's nobody else out here besides me that has a knife, and mine are in my pocket. So anyway, so she got her first nick. Nothing bad at all. So, but it reminded me of, because I know she was kind of upset about it, and so I told her about, I showed her scars on my hands that I have from my knives. So I remember the first time I got a knife, it was this cheap Walmart knife that was like $10, and I brought it home. I was about maybe 10 or 11 years old, and my mom finally let me get a knife, and I brought it home, and I was whittling and stuff, and I decided I was going to make a bow and arrow.
Nice.
Made the bow out of a piece, about a 2.5 foot stick, strung it up, and then I was making the arrows, and I had to make the notch for the arrow, right?
Oh, boy.
And instead of being smart about this, I decided to hold it in one hand and come down on it and shunk right through my finger, and I got this about, I don't know, maybe 1/2 inch deep cut from that. And to this day, I still don't think my parents have any clue, because I did not tell them.
Well, until Monday.
I will tell you, I felt lightheaded, but I was not going to tell my parents. And man, it bled forever.
So how old were you?
I was like 11, 10, 11, something like that, yeah.
So my first knife I found on the side of a road. No, get this.
When did you have your first? Not long
that's
after
where
that,
I got my first gun, but I grew up in Flint. So
I wanted. Well, you find needles too, Jeff. So
that's how Jeff found his first gun.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm saying, I grew up in Flint, so that's how I found my first gun.
Detroit.
No, I'm not in L.A.
So I find this pocket knife on the side of the road. It's like single blade, little folding pocket knife, and I found it on the side of a road in Maine. And I must have been like 8 or 9. And somehow for the entire vacation, I was able to keep it hidden from my parents.
Wow.
And when we got back to Vermont, my dad was a pastor, so we'd go to the church to spend like summer days playing outside at church while Dad was working. And I accidentally left it like on the toilet, on top of the toilet when I was going to the bathroom, because I didn't have pockets in my shorts. And he found it.
Nice.
And was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing." And so I don't know whether I got in trouble for lying or whether it was because I had a knife or something. But Dad put it in his desk drawer, and I remember opening the desk drawer like 13 years later and still seeing it there in the drawer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I may be harboring a little bit of that. So
my first knife was just a Swiss Army knife, but I still managed to cut myself with it the first week. So
always.
Like I never cut myself with it. I cut myself with my mom's
But the Swiss Army
scissors.
knife didn't have a locking blade. That was why I cut myself, actually.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
So my second knife was a Schrade S2. And here's a funny story. So my dad, I don't know why he thought giving me another knife was a good idea, but he wanted to buy me a Schrade. So the Schrade S2 was like little bitty knife, like 3 inches long, if that. And we go to Walmart to pick one up, because at that point they had an end cap display with a bunch of Schrade knives. And we went down there to get it, and the night before, somebody had actually tried to cut open the display, because it was like a plastic display, and they had left blood all over the place, so they had gotten away with all the knives. So then my dad asked them if they would sell us the one in the case, because that was back when
With all the
Walmart
blood on it?
had a nice, yeah. 'Cause
You
that
know,
was
a
back,
display case.
no, this display
sporting goods
case
section.
in sporting goods. This back when Walmart actually had like a long counter with sporting goods, not just like a little short dinky counter. They had all kind of pocket knives in there. They would not sell us the one out of the case, so we had to go to another store. And then after that, I got a straight S3, which was bigger, and I got that one at Home Depot, and it was bright orange, and I still managed to lose it somewhere along the line.
How did you lose a bright orange knife?
It was probably when we moved to South Africa or moved back. I forget which. But I just looked at them on eBay. I found one on eBay. It's $30, which to me is crazy, but $35.
So I do not remember my first knife. I'm sure I was fairly young because of hunting and squirrel hunting, stuff like that with my grandfather. I do remember at some point I had a metal detector in like junior high. I do remember like finding a cheapo switchblade knife like buried in the ground with metal detector, but it wasn't like sharp at all. But probably my most memorable cut, unfortunately, I was not like 11. I was in college. I don't think I was your roommate, Tombstone. I think, or Mathis. I think it was maybe my senior year, junior or senior year. So I'm sitting in the dorm room. Ben remembers this. I'm sitting in the dorm room. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm going to have an apple while I'm doing homework. And normally I'm pretty smart with how I cut an apple. If I don't have like a cutting surface,
This gonna be good.
I put the knife in and then I just turn the apple in a circle so that my hand never comes near the blade, cut it in half and then go from there. And then you just kind of like you normally do, cut off slices of it, right? So I'm like
Worked
reading.
real well, didn't it?
I'm reading for a class. Well, I'm reading. I turn the apple and the blade sticks a little bit. And without even thinking, I just put my hand under the apple and then push on the blade. So the blade goes right through the apple, pops me right in the side of the hand, and it was deep. And it was a nice sharp blade. It was a little Winchester folding knife I had that came with the hunting.
From Walmart?
It came with my hunting knife that I use for like gutting the deer and stuff. And it popped me right in the hand, and it literally was so sharp and clean of a cut that I hit it, and I looked at my hand and I'm like, oh, maybe I didn't get myself that bad because it didn't bleed for a second. And then it just starts bleeding. Yeah. And so go over to the sink, cold water, elevate it, compression, won't slow it down. So I ended up going over to the campus hospital, and they had to bring in the doctor, the on-call doctor, and stitch it up. So no joke. So it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night now by the time the on-call doctor comes in. This poor lady's like 7.5 months pregnant, coming in to stitch up my hand, and I'm like apologizing. I'm like, I probably could have found a tube of super glue. Like, this is just, And then she's worried she's gonna have to put a stitch in the vein or there because she couldn't. At first, we couldn't get the bleeding to slow down. So like we're talking, I was like, oh, this is like Black Hawk Down, where they're rooting around in the guy's leg for the.
No.
I remember that.
She's going like, oh, I can't watch that movie, because she's like, because her brother was in the
You're a
military,
nurse.
Like so
you're a nurse. Fix me.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Morphine.
And then later, when the stitches were supposed to come out, I was too busy with classes, and the doctor's office couldn't get me in for several days. But they're like, "Oh no, you're up! Like, you need to get those out before they grow in." So I was like, "Can I just take them out myself?" And they were like, "No, we can't advise that." And I was like, "It's okay." And I just took the stitches out myself.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Who cares?
Have you guys seen this? It's called Zip Stitch.
That is so cool.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
That is awesome.
Definitely need to get that into my
oh my goodness,
stuff.
that is the coolest thing ever. So
really cool stuff.
What it is it's 2 pieces of adhesive. I mean, it's going to be really odd to describe, but 2 pieces of adhesive that have zip ties.
Like a plastic zip tie between them. Almost,
right,
yeah.
Plastic zip ties that are between them, and basically you put it over whatever needs to be stitched. You put it over, and then you zip it shut, essentially.
Yeah, adhesive on either side of the cut, and then you pull the individual ties to cinch it closed.
Right, depending on how tight you need it to be, which is super awesome. You can buy them now, so we're definitely going to invest in those at the rate we're going with knives.
I mean, they're not gonna They're not going to seal up a massive serious injury, but they'll do to
still,
a basic cut, a bleeding cut, a basic bleeding.
Right. So they're crazy cool. So check that out. That is something awesome.
My brother-in-law told me who knew a guy that was cutting something with a skill saw and put his hand underneath to make sure it was cutting.
Ooh, what?
Ooh,
Yeah.
no.
What?
Whoa.
Did I tell you guys about the day that I was? So I built my own house, and
by the way, it was cutting.
Still building. And,
did you stick your hand under the skill
so
saw?
I had
how many fingers did you lose?
I had to chisel some
I don't think he
deck
lost
posts.
anybody. Messed himself up pretty bad.
Yeah, right. So I had to chisel some deck posts out, chisel notch out.
Those suckers are nasty, man.
And it wasn't terrible until I dropped the super sharp chisel.
On your bare foot?
On
you were working in flip-flops?
No, I was working in flip-flops, but I dropped it, and it literally brushed my thumb.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, and it like
and it skimmed it, and no, it was the wrong way. It didn't skim my hand. It like sliced like 3/4 of an inch in, and it was really bad, but it was a really clean cut.
Oh yeah,
zip stitch, baby.
Apparently I wrapped it up in a paper towel and I put electrical tape on it or something. And I found out that that pressure treated wood is actually fairly clean in a wound. So I don't know.
It's the arsenic.
Is it? Because I'm pretty sure that stuff's pretty toxic.
I don't know. I feel great, guys. I'm feeling great.
It's had no side effect on him whatsoever.
No, none at all, guys. So this morning I went to a SWAT meet at a local gun range, and I don't know if you guys can see that. I drove
some guy chopped your thumb off?
I drove a drill bit because I have a whole bunch of reloading presses I was trying to sell, and I decided to set them up on a bench, on a plywood bench, and like screw them in. And they gave me a screw gun to use. I drove the screw gun into my thumb.
Why would you do that? That was stupid.
I kind of missed the screw and went into my thumb.
Actually.
Yeah, it was bad.
I've done that. It hurts. Crazy.
Power tools, guys. Power tools. Be safe.
If not, get Zip Stitch.
Yeah.
We need them to sponsor us.
Are they a sponsor? Can we? I want to do a live read ad. I've been itching to do a live read lately.
I can get you something to do a live read.
We'll probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
We eat ribs and whatnot and listen to salsa music. You see where I'm coming from?
Free ponies for all Americans, one of the overlooked issues in America today.
Guys, speaking of free ponies, did you guys see the Indiana church that wiped out $7.8 million in medical debt?
That's pretty awesome.
This was back last month. We actually didn't have time to get to it, one of the episodes last month. But yeah, this is Northview Church. They teamed up with RIP, Rest in Peace Medical Debt, a New York-based organization leveraged more than $40,000 in donations to wipe out unpaid medical bills. And so $7.8 million from 6,000 families across the state.
That is an incredibly heartwarming story.
So the church itself did not give $7.8 million, but the whole organization, I guess, Rest in Peace Medical Debt did. But Northview,
the church sounds like they did 40,000 though.
Let's see.
Because leveraged more than $40,000 in donations.
The church. Oh, good grief! Yeah. Oh my goodness. So
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So guys, read on. The church, which has 7 campuses in Indiana, initially raised $20,000 to wipe out $2 million in medical debt for 2,500 families.
So
so this makes sense.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is co-pays and stuff.
But I think they're negotiating with the hospitals. I think the Rest in Peace medical debt company must negotiate with hospitals and say, we will give you this lump sums that you forgive everything.
Yeah, they're essentially kind of like some of these tax relief organizations, right? Where they go in, you have a massive debt, the collection agency is having trouble collecting, so this other person goes in and arbitrates on your behalf and says, okay, what lump sum can we give you? And then you clear everything else. But this organization appears to also be paying the bill for the people versus just negotiating your own bill down cheaper.
So these seven campuses raised over $40,000.
That's pretty neat.
And they were able to erase $7.8 million in medical debt.
That's pretty cool.
For 5,940 families. That's crazy cool.
That is cool. That is really cool.
That's awesome. Well done.
Awesome. Kudos.
Well done, Northview Church. Guys, another thing that snuck into the news this week, in case you haven't been noticing, is our government is still funded.
Yeah, no, bad.
Yeah. As Ron Swanson would say with his little flag, slash it. I know one of our listeners, who we will not name, is very happy to have actually had a job on Friday. He works for the federal government. Wasn't sure on Thursday whether or not he was actually going into work or not. But the continuing resolution got signed on Thursday and allowed him to go into work on Friday. So that's nice for him.
And as Thomas Massey pointed out to us, it also included a renewal of the Patriot Act. That was literally just supposed to get us past 9/11.
So remember, the Patriot Act was what Snowden warned us about.
That traitor.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep, can of worms. Here we go.
Just kidding.
So speaking of traitors, guys, and pardoning people, the president pardoned the turkeys this past week.
Oh, thank goodness.
Whoa. You're going to cut from you remember the Patriot Act to the president pardoned turkeys?
Well, I was thinking
going to discuss the Patriot Act?
I was thinking Snowden.
I mean, it's all about turkeys, isn't it?
Is there anything that we really want to say about the Patriot Act that we haven't already said?
Other than the Patriot Act's terrible?
It's bad. It's warrantless wiretapping. The founders would have never stood for it. Okay, next.
Revolution 2.0.
Cut to the next thing.
So, yeah, pardoning turkeys.
Turkeys.
I gotta ask you guys.
Isn't that a little early? I thought that happened like Thanksgiving.
Well,
wasn't that like a Thanksgiving tradition, or like a week
this
before?
Thursday?
No, Thanksgiving is this work.
That's this Thursday.
So this Thursday.
This is the week before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
This is the week of Thanksgiving.
This is the week of Thanksgiving.
When did this happen, though? I demand resolutions here.
Yeah, so
Osmond does not care about the facts. Osmond does not care about the facts in the Chick-Fil-A case, but he needs the details on this turkey.
I don't even care about the Patriot Act. Show me where the turkey story is.
Forget the chicken.
So
show me the turkey.
Okay. I'm looking this up here. I can't believe this is like this big of an issue for you.
By
guys.
the way, Jeff, thank you for sending me those very tasteful Donald Trump related Christmas items.
I am sending you all.
I was hoping there would be like a fuzzy jammies, Trump Pence fuzzy jammies in here.
Oh, there are. Just go to the link.
No.
I think there's a sweatshirt. I don't know if there's a fuzzy jammy.
Guys, there's speaking of Donald Trump theme.
I have small children. We live and die by fuzzy jammies in this family.
Speaking of Donald Trump themed Christmas items, I sent you one the other day, guys.
You did?
In fact, it was this morning. And you guys wanted to gouge your eyes out.
Oh, gosh, no.
Oh, yes.
No.
Oh, yes. The Donald.
Yeah, I talk about that.
The Donald Trump bikini.
Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome.
You can
now, what I find ironic, Tombstone.
Here's the thing, audience: do not. First of all, do not Google that. Second of all, it is worse than you think. Much worse.
Yes, it is worse than you think.
It's not what you think. It is a lot worse.
All right, so last
However, the
year,
Donald Trump socks I saw that actually have like his hair on them, like physically there's like material that's like his hair on the side of the sock.
That's disgusting.
Those look hilarious.
That's really disturbing.
No. All right.
So back to turkey party.
I would try them out for the show.
I will say, last year, Amazon so graciously sent us a box that I didn't realize wasn't ours until I had already opened it. That had a Donald Trump chia pet in it.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you grow it?
Did it grow orange?
I actually gave it to my brother-in-law. It was orange.
Oh, that's
yes.
First of all, you're a really good brother-in-law, so good for you.
Pet. So
it was a Cheeto pet. No. Oh, come on,
Cheetos.
Dad joke here.
Better than Aaron's bad
coming
jokes.
from the guy who's.
That's right.
What?
So, probably the best of one of those things I sent you, Tombstone, is that they have Trump Pence wrapping paper in a couple different styles. But my favorite is the snowflake. Like there could just be a second level troll there with the Trump Pence snowflake wrapping paper. I sent it to all you guys.
When did you send it to us?
When did you send this?
Just now.
Oh,
yes. Check signal.
Jeez Louise.
Oh, this is so hard.
Oh, look, I got one about the first thing we did in the very first segment.
Yeah, that's a good meme too. Because it's something we all missed on the analysis of the Cybertruck.
No, we did not.
There's no mirrors.
No, we did not. We didn't get to talking about it.
No, that's part of the technology, Jeff.
Yep, it's part of technology, man.
Duh.
So we did miss it.
Boomers need mirrors. Boomers need mirors.
Yep.
I like to know what's in my blind spot without paying for an expensive camera.
Stay on target. The turkey pardoning goes back to 1947, just in case you were curious. Two birds are selected based on their temperament and appearance. Good looking turkey.
That is isn't that profiling?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
We can do it to turkeys. We can't do it to people.
Right. Exactly.
Make of that what you will.
No
That's
stop.
what's wrong.
No stop and frisk of the turkeys.
That's what's wrong with America today.
Ponies for every American.
Thank you, Verm. Yeah. Wow. So the turkey pardoning already happened this year, I believe. But they let's see, they'll find a permanent home at the Gobbler's Rest at the Polytechnic Institute and State University at Blacksburg,
where you'll be able to see them at dinner every night for a week.
Okay, guys, why aren't they just killed?
Can I just say that I am frustrated that the only target you have tried to keep us on all night has been turkey pardoning.
Turkeys, guys, turkeys.
It's literally the only thing. You have fought so hard on this turkey pardoning thing.
Guys, stay on target.
Everywhere.
This is important.
And then they're going to go to Virginia Tech or whatever you're talking about.
Anyway, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, because that'll be next week before we do the next show.
That's true. We will all be much fatter after this next show.
It is true.
Black Friday.
Have you guys seen
guys.
Have you seen the turkey pants?
That's terrifying.
Turkey pants. You didn't see the turkey pants?
Don't Google it, Jeff.
Are they?
No, it's not inappropriate.
Are they anything like the Trump bikini? Because then I don't want to see them.
No, they're not.
Like you could wear your Trump bikini with the turkey pants.
No, honestly, there's nothing wrong with them. They're just very funny.
Well, yeah.
So
I mean, they are.
That's what we try to say about us when we're trying to advertise the show. There's nothing actually wrong with them.
There's nothing wrong with them. They're just funny.
But people usually don't believe us.
I don't. Thank you, Walmart. In fact, I'm pretty sure I saw those in Walmart the other day. All
right. So forget the turkey pants. Speaking of apparel,
yes,
I'm looking for hunting boots.
Okay.
So I need some input.
You should buy ones that are for hunting.
Rubber boots.
You're welcome. Waterproof.
Like I'm looking at either a muck brand, like almost a knee high, mid calf high, rubber neoprene kind of mix.
Go with a knockoff on Amazon.
Muckluck.
I was looking at some in Bass Pro today. Looking at some Cabela's brand actually. I think in Bass Pro today because they're owned by the same ones.
See, I can get away with wearing non-Gore-Tex boots year round.
See,
and that's that pleasure.
That's the thing. Partly we need winter boots up here. Yeah. Now I've got an older pair of hunting boots I got to get from my parents' house before I go out. So that's part of the reason I'm struggling with this new purchase. I would
just get a pair of Salomon or Merrell Gore-Tex boots with like a 4-inch upper. But that's me.
Well, the place I'm going to be hunting, like I was out there in my Red Wing work boots, checking it out with the property owner the other day, and there's some spots where I may need the like mid calf. There's some spots right around some water that had it not been partially frozen, I'd have been sinking in over my work.
You guys can't just get wet because you freeze.
Yes, exactly.
That's the problem. Your feet get wet and you're done.
I'm not really worried about getting wet.
So I'm looking at either like the Muck brand. The trouble kind of with the other ones, I want to make them as usable year round as I can. So I can't go with a heavy Thinsulate because then they're not going to be usable year round. I'd rather go with a lighter gram Thinsulate and wear wool socks with them. But you can't go too tight with your socks, obviously. So the Cabela's ones I was looking at, they're actually kind of zoned out. It's pretty interesting. So the toe, right on the toe, is 800 gram Thinsulate. The foot is 400 and the heel is 200. And then the upper is just rubber with the neoprene inside it. So they kind of different Thinsulate levels in different areas. So don't know. Didn't know if you guys had input on amazing hunting boots or not. It doesn't sound like it.
You should get some.
I don't know. I was talking to a guy the other day who said go with the Muck boots. I was like, I can't justify the extra $50 for the Muck name.
Yeah,
I was looking at the knockoffs because I was like,
what brand knockoffs were you looking at?
Oh, I don't remember. Something on Amazon with good reviews. But then I read an article about how all Amazon reviews are probably fake, and then I was like, well, I always get
concerned with the Amazon reviews. But
I was like, I can't trust that anymore. So it was bad.
Just go with the Cabela's brand, man.
I read this article. I read this article this week about this woman who she goes to these websites and basically she buys all this stuff off Amazon, shows up at her house, she reviews it, and then gets paid back the price of the object in order to review it. Wow. And she always gives everything 5-star reviews, even if they suck.
How do I get into that?
Well, and the trouble I find with the reviews is they're either like, it's either 5 stars or 1 star.
Yeah.
There's nobody actually critically grading.
I actually never read 5-star reviews on products. I go straight to the 1 star, especially on books.
I usually read most of the 1-star reviews and ignore. I read some of the 5 stars because I do want to see. I like the 5 stars where people actually like use the product and give details. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it shipped on time and the box looks pretty. I hope it works when I use it." 5 stars, and you're like, "That doesn't help me." You know. Of course, the 1 stars are like, "I used it for 6 things it's not supposed to be used for and ran it over with my car and it didn't work. I'm angry." 1 star, and you're just like,
exactly. And you're like, okay, this might be okay.
So reviews are not helpful sometimes.
No, they're not. They're not.
Well, this turned into a bummer of a topic. I thought hunting boots would actually be a hit with 2 of you guys, not 3 of you. But
I'm just saying,
I'm out.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's. What?
Next topic. What do we got?
Florida dog.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back. It's all good. Jeff's bummed. Tombstone's sleepy. Ozzy and I are pithy as ever.
No comment.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All I gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun say yeah?
My theory is it's casting a shadow from the other limb.
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff. And it told him to get up in a tree and play a leprechaun.
This wars off smells right here. This is a special leprechaun flute. This has been passed down from thousands of years ago from my great-great-grandfather who was Irish. I just came to help out.
I'm going to run a backhoe and uproot that tree. I want to know what it goes like. I want to go. Give me the go. I want to go.
All right, so I was going to say, listening to that intro has to be like the perfect microcosm. It's like to be on this show because you got like Ozzy over there who's like, it could be a crackhead. They got a hold of the wrong stuff. And then there's just this poor guy in the middle, me, just trying to offer a reasonable explanation. Well, maybe.
And am I there? Am I there helping you?
No, Tombstone, you are just kind of in the background. Just off to the left side of the screen.
I mean, that's the correct answer. So
just ignoring what's going on.
This is like the first time we've heard Tombstone in 2 segments here.
And then Mathis shows up like, where's the gold at? I want the gold. And so I just, for the listeners out there,
Aaron, it's all about
if
the bag.
If you caught on to that guy in the middle trying to offer the reasonable explanation with all this other chaos about leprechaun flutes and gold and uprooting trees, that's what it's like to be the one sane person on the show.
Special leprechaun flute.
You keep telling yourself that, Jeff. Keep telling yourself you're the rational one, Jeff. Keep telling yourself that.
It's I have to do it.
I keep telling myself that too.
It's part of my therapy. It's part of my therapy.
So,
guys,
speaking of random stuff,
yeah,
here we go. Let's go.
So yeah,
go do it. Do it. I love it.
See, this is what it's like. These two are fighting over who's going to go with the lead on the story.
Did you guys check out this dog?
Yes.
In Florida. All right, so check this out. Florida man's dog. This is a special Florida man here. It's Florida man's dog.
Florida man's dog. Here we go. We actually
got the audio.
We have audio. We have audio. WPTV TV out of Florida, Florida's Treasure Coast. Here we go.
I figured, how the heck did they manage to do that?
Florida drivers might not have the best reputation, so when Anna Sable saw this gray sedan spinning in reverse outside her window in Port St. Lucie,
he was a better driver than a lot of them I've seen.
She wasn't immediately surprised, but police started showing up.
And then I saw another cop car and another cop car.
And then she realized the car had just one occupant, a black lab, rather content in the front seat.
I laughed. I thought they should give the dog a license to drive.
Police say the owner just stepped out of the car and the dog somehow knocked the car into reverse. The dog's owner, police, and firefighters crafted a plan to stop this near hour-long spree.
Now, police say they were able to finally stop this dog's joyride by punching a passcode into the driver's side door to get inside, but not before that dog first took out this mailbox, a trash can, and some bricks in front of a home.
No, he was doing pretty good until he hit the mailbox. He went around for about an hour without hitting anything at all.
Classic.
But the best news, the dog wasn't hurt at all. In fact, pretty happy after his first and hopefully last solo drive.
Yeah, I saw the dog jump out of the car, wagging his tail, and I was like, okay.
I'm not going to lie. I was really waiting for the part where they were like, and the police showed up, and then when the dog got out of the car, like, apes tackled him. Stop resisting! Stop resisting!
Yeah, was this on live PD?
Oh, that would have been gold, guys.
Stop resisting.
Earlier in Port St. Lucia, a dog stole a car. I don't get live PD anymore, Jeff.
How in the world do
you don't have A&E?
Don't have A&E anymore.
So
Alyssa canceled on me.
This driver has to have left his car in reverse. How in the world could a dog do that?
I've heard of dog.
He could have left it. Well, okay. The car was new enough. It had the key code punch in. Did it have one of those stupid like rotary, like gear shift things?
But the car was on.
It's not.
The car was running.
Car, though.
Oh, it isn't.
No.
The car was running. He could have easily bumped it into reverse.
I guess. At least he knew to drive it in a circle so he didn't crash.
There was a guy, I forget if it was here in Michigan, because I heard it on the radio the other day. So there was a guy who went out and bought a car, and this is kind of an unusual situation. He bought it from someone else, and it was a manual that had a remote start on it.
Okay, yeah.
Well, you know how you can shut off a manual and like leave it in gear or whatever, right? So the guy hits his remote start and ends up laking his car. It ends up in a lake because it remote started with a manual in gear. So that was a bad day.
That's brilliant.
So this was a Buick, which means it had the shifter was on the stick shift, was on the column.
Depending on the year.
Typically,
or are they all there?
I thought most of them were on the.
I don't know. I don't drive a Buick.
All the Buicks I've ever driven have the shifter on the column, man.
I say that like I'm a car snob. I'm driving a 98 Saturn. So,
well, right. Right.
I'm not fortunate enough to drive a Buick.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like a Buick. It's definitely one of the models with the gear shift on the column.
Interesting.
So probably the dog jumped up on the dash, hit that, or the elderly driver just didn't put it in park.
A dog.
He probably didn't get it fully.
If the dog put a paw up and could have grabbed it and pulled it down.
And if he didn't get it fully engaged into park, like if he was like, because if the car was running, he started to back out of his driveway. Oh crap! I forgot my wallet or whatever. Well, slam it into park, run in the house real fast, and the dog's going to immediately go in the front seat and put his feet up. That's what they all do, right?
Right.
So he could have bumped it into reverse.
Either way, it's a brilliant story, and that dog did awesome driving.
He did. He drove backwards in a circle for an
and
hour.
He only hit a trash can in the mailbox.
I mean, honestly, give him a driver's license at that rate. Like she said, that's
better than most Florida drivers.
Qualifying Florida right there.
Yeah. Right, guys.
All right,
so what? What?
No results. We've 2 weeks in a row. We've had DA of the day voting. And no update on what the results of the polls are.
Let me go look.
You're leaving me hanging.
I'm bringing them up here. I'm bringing them up here.
Put it up. Put it up.
All right. Let me see here. I got to go back in time. The Wayback Machine.
We
need the.
Thank you, Peabody.
You're welcome. We need the. Let's
Have you guys
see.
watched Peabody?
Stop trying to talk and find it because you're not being able to do both at the same time.
Well, that's what you have to do sometimes.
Is it? We could talk about the dog more.
Well,
so yeah, I think
dogs are dogs.
Tombstone, offer us some intelligent insight while he's digging for results.
Yes. What is your analysis on the dog in reverse there?
The dog probably put his paw up, grabbed the shifter, and pulled it down.
He's giving us hardcore serious analysis because he hasn't been listening to us for the last 3 minutes, so he doesn't know what we're talking about. He's frustrated that we're asking him for input.
I hate
you guys are pulling me over to the dark side.
We have Tattoo Man. If you remember Tattoo Man with his name tattooed on his neck, giving the police the false birthday.
Yes.
Versus Trump, who said he was building border walls in Colorado.
And the winner
is a good idea, but impractical.
Tattoo Man won. Tattoo Man.
Okay.
Oh,
darn! I'm disappointed.
That's right. That's right. Tattoo Man. And then where was the other one? The other one was. Boy, I can't find it.
All right. Well, we'll have to update it next week then.
Can't find it, man. Why can't
Check the Facebook page. We'll get another poll up there this week for another DA of the day or DA of the week, whichever it is. DA of the day flows so much better.
It does. It does.
And we'll get you an update on those results.
All right.
But until next time,
thanks.
You can check us out at thefrontporchshow.com, iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere where you get your podcasts.
All that jazz. Did I get the last word? Yes!